What's up, folks? This is Gray here, and welcome to the Sunday Shift Report. The SHTF, the crap has hit the fan. We got several articles and things to go over. That being said, folks, this is, the day that I go over current events and some of my political perspectives on things that I see out in the media and things that are happening. So if you're looking for the type of videos that I normally do, let's say reviews or, emergency preparedness videos, this may not be the video for you other than, if you like to hear about current events and political perspectives. This is something that I've been doing for quite some time. And a lot of folks seem to enjoy this content because there's a lot of folks out there that don't want to listen to mainstream media and the lies that they like to propagate through their platform, be it television. Some folks just don't like to watch it. You know what I mean? So thank you all for joining me this Sunday afternoon. I truly appreciate every single one of you guys that sit here every Sunday. Probably, I think this is probably like the 70th plus episode of this of the Sunday Shift Report. It's something I started quite some time ago, and you, my viewers, seem to really engage and enjoy this content. So that if you do, please hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate that. That's always beneficial. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. That would be also if you want more content like this. Also, check out the channel. There's a lot of great stuff on there outside of just political and current event material. Mods, thank you for taking your time to be here as well. I know it's Sunday. A lot of times people do things on Sundays and they choose to hang out here with the Grey community. I appreciate that. That being said, all the topics that I go over will be linked down below if you want to carry on and look at some of those topics and grab your own perspective from that. They will be linked down below if you want to read the articles in their entirety, which I implore you to do. Just because of how I look at things may not be the correct way of looking at them. These are, like I said, my opinions and my opinions only. All right, folks. Other than that, let's kind of dive into it and see what we have for you folks tonight. We got a lot of stuff going on. We have a little bit more, I discussed a little bit about the Chinese threat not too long ago in regards to the CCP government. And we're looking at things like blackouts. There's a couple positive things in the news that I want to share with you folks, and some odds and ends that are transpiring that I like to share. Anyways, let's get into the whole China situation, folks. Remember the whole conversation that Corn Pop had with Xi Jinping, and basically he said if you play with fire, you're going to get burned. With dealing with the whole Pelosi thing in Taiwan and all the other stuff like that. It's almost like posturization in regards to what these folks are trying to do. Who knows? Is it all propaganda? Possibly. When it comes to the Communist Party and our own government, we're all into this whole propaganda game. Anyways, let me throw up this article that I want to share with you folks so you can see what I'm talking about. So the CCP has their own platform. What's the name of it? I think it's called Weibo. I think that's how they say it. It's kind of like Twitter, right? And this article here has to deal with that basically. And what kind of shocked me, and someone said, well, that's not really a lot compared to most things, but to me, it shows how the Chinese people or the folks that back the Chinese government feel about certain situations. So here we go. It says China's army post. Get ready for war. So the Chinese military says, get ready for war. That should be an inclination of wow, what's the end game here? You know what I mean? This could be a possibility due to Pelosi's trip and whatnot, but who knows? It's like I said, during that conversation he had with Xi Jinping reiterated that Taiwan is part of China from their perspective, and this goes way back. This has been something that's going on for quite some time. Anyways, to finish up this article, it says, get ready for war. Read a message posted by China's People Liberation Army, the PLA 80th group, over the U.S. visit to Taiwan as reported on Friday, July 29th. China's Army's war message over the potential U.S. visit to Taiwan reportedly generated over 300,000 thumbs up in just 12 hours. Man, I wish I could get 300,000 thumbs ups. Anyways, creating high morale amongst Chinese soldiers, according to Global Times. The message was posted on the China's social network called Weibo, with pictures of the post since circulating on Twitter. Of course, folks over here saw that. They decided to take that information and retweet or tweet it out here in the U.S. To kind of let people know what China is doing and what they're saying. They are doing some sort of naval exercises and stuff in the area. It's quite intriguing. I've even heard material from certain periodicals that said that about them shooting Pelosi's plane out of the sky. That would be definitely an act of war at that point. If that happens, regardless if that's something that you look forward to or don't look forward to or whatever, but it's an act of war. So I guess we'll see. So far, from my understanding, she's already in there in China. She's being very hush hush. No one's saying if she's going to go into Taiwan or not. And the thing is, folks, I can see why some of the Republican senators and congressmen and all that stuff like that are saying they want her to go. Because basically, if she doesn't go, then it's kind of showing weakness of the United States government, and of course that that bleeds into the rest of the world as they see the way our posture is, especially with the current people that are running this country, specifically the president and his cabinet. So something to think about. Other countries are preparing for this. China has been preparing for it for quite some time. Just to say, just to kind of add to that, they've been storing grain, they've been storing commodities, they've been storing a lot of other materials just in case they get cut off. Now, there's certain manufacturers out there that I've already seen are starting to pull back out of China like they did with Russia when Russia went into Ukraine. So I guess time will tell as we get closer to the fall and move into 2023 what this whole thing is, if it's going to be a jumping point into a world conflict or not. That's left to be said and to be seen, per se. All right, so I wanted to share that because that is something that could be a possibility, folks. A war with China, it may not be a traditional war, like a ground war or something like that. I don't see that. I don't see us going to China and invading in China, right? Possibly our naval fleets would, try to protect Taiwan, and of course that's an act of war, be it how we feel about it. But according to China and other people in that realm of things, that's how they see it. They see that as an act of war. Will they go to war? Will it be an exchange of fire? Again, we don't know just yet. But it's intriguing to see how it all plays out because you have to look at it this way. When it comes to our economies, they're somewhat intertwined in the aspect that we get a lot of goods shipped from China, be it from your things like your components to the medicines that you consume, all the way to your electronics, and the list goes on. We are a huge importer of Chinese goods, as well as other parts of the country and world in general for that. Speaking of world issues, I wanted to touch on something because I wish our government would do more to prepare its citizens. You know what I mean? To let them know, hey, this could be a possibility. Maybe you should put some food and things aside because something may happen. Or even state governments, For instance, what was it? I put an article down in the Discord that stated that Las Vegas? Something in Nevada where the aspect that they only have about 50 days of water supply left and they declared an emergency. I don't have the exact article in front of me, but it is in the Discord in the important news section. But 50 days, that's insane. What are they going to do? I don't know. I'm watching it closely to see how it plays out. I'm assuming some sort of government intervention will take place. At least that's what I assume because, the government, what does it do? It comes in to save the day, per se, right? And we know that nothing's free, and anything associated with big gov is probably not the best bet. But let me bring this up. This is a supermarket giant. I think it's in Austria. I'm pretty sure it's in Austria. It says a supermarket giant prepares for blackouts. And this is happening. If you look at Germany and all these other places, they are dealing with a severe energy crisis, just like kind of what we're doing here in the U.S., except our infrastructure is a little bit different. The cost is just getting put onto the citizens. If you notice, your electric bills have gone up. Your gas bills have gone up. The price of fuel, of course, has gone up. It's dropped some. But, you got to dig more into that one as well. I think by the fall with these new tax hikes and stuff like that, we're probably going to see a little bit more of an issue, and we'll discuss that here in a little bit as well. I have an article in regards to the inflation and this Inflation Reduction Act. Anyway, SPAR is preparing for the blackout. There are plans in place in the event of a massive power outage. Water and food will then be given to customers. Pretty cool, right? When it comes to crisis management in the event of a power failure, the supermarket giant SPAR is now apparently taking it seriously. As the ORF reports, there are clear security principles for the workforce in the event of looting, burglaries, and robberies. You shouldn't resist, but rather act to de-escalate and try to fend for yourself to fend for yourself, avoid. I don't know why it said through avoid in there. This is being translated from their language to English, so that's probably why that's in there. They say so. Basically, they're trying to say that you want to de-escalate and you want to avoid the situations, which I can comprehend that. You don't want to, escalate any situation, especially if there's a larger force sitting in front of you and risk the life of yourself or your family. Anyways, employees have the right to leave the branch if it would be too dangerous for them in the event of widespread blackout at their workplace. So basically, the employees from the top to the bottom will just leave and let the looters and the thieves and those folks do whatever they want to do. The store managers, together with the area manager, decide from which day a branch will no longer be open, so they can shut a branch down. So people in that area may not have access to even go to the foods, but the folks will probably smash windows and take whatever they want. We've seen that happen in Africa last year, not too long ago. In the event of a crisis, we ensure that the Austrian population is supplied with food, which is quite interesting, said Wes Mueller. In order to be able to do this, one then wants to issue edible and drinkable goods to consumers for a small fee. I don't know if the folks in Austria, if there's people that can't afford this small fee, because they're not really stipulating what that small fee is. But nevertheless, the supermarket giant is calling on the population, and this is what I find intriguing about this article. The supermarket giant is calling on the population to stock up accordingly so that the markets do not have to be stormed by the masses on the first day of a blackout. So a couple of things I want to take from this little blurb here that I have highlighted. The supermarket is telling you to stock up, to go to the store, buy some stuff, aka prep up, stack it to the rafters per se, right? And they're saying that so that people won't storm the store because they're worried about food, right? And of course, regardless of what they say, people are going to do nefarious things because that's what people do in human nature, unfortunately. And it says on the first day of the blackout. So my question is are they thinking that blackout is it's going to last more than a day? Is it going to last a couple of days, a week, a month? Those are the questions I would ask if I was an Austrian citizen in regards to this article. Anyways, folks, don't think that this cannot happen here in the U.S. We've seen plenty of riots. We've seen people smashing and grab. Right now, in certain states like California and Washington State and other places, people just go in and take what they want because somewhat the law kind of protects them in regards to thefts under a specific amount of money. So you're seeing this all the time. To this day, I just saw an article just recently in regards to people just walking in and with a bag and just taking whatever they want and leaving. So imagine there was a blackout or a specific crisis to that extent. What would happen? If folks are willing to do it now and risk possible issues and they're not being stopped, what's to say if California goes dark for more than a few days? Imagine that crisis, folks. Imagine if you live in a state like that, or any state where that was to happen, be it New York or any major metropolitan area. And this is why, folks, we channels like myself and others, we push preparedness so much because there's a fine line. There's a fine line. Things can happen, on a dime. One day everything is great. And within hours, there's a total collapse of the system or infrastructure, and you're left to fend for yourself. That's why you need to prepare. You need to prepare every aspect of your life because everything is just, it's just so, it's not like that. If it's going to happen, it's just when, because things always happen, be it floods, hurricanes, natural disasters, be it other things to that, speak to that kind of scenarios, and beyond. Anyways, speaking of food, I wanted to bring up another thing since I'm talking about food here, because have you been seeing a lot of governments being toppled lately? You saw the whole situation in Sri Lanka, right? There was another issue in Iraq, and I think I have a video clip that I can show you. It's funny. I've been watching the memes go around. Are they going to be investigated? Is this finally considered an insurrection and all this other crap? But the people of those countries aren't happy. So they're ousting the governments that are running the country and trying to put in place, I guess, people that they feel that would do a better job. Anyways, Sri Lankans, for instance, recently toppled their government in part because its restrictions on chemical fertilizers resulted in massive crop failures. In the Netherlands, farmers are rebelling peacefully so far against their government's green restrictions in cows and pasture lands. Here in the United States, the debates over whether food shortages are looming in the near future, because some people say no, there's no food shortage, it's not going to happen. Some experts laugh at this idea about food shortages, while others, including farmers, specifically who I pay attention to, warn that bad weather, the rising cost of food production, particularly with higher prices of diesel fuel and fertilizer, and a broken supply chain, will lead to empty shelves in grocery stores by the fall. Again, I have reiterated, by the fall, you will see some bad things happening. I hope that they don't. I hope there's some sort of resolution from now until then, but the fall is approaching very, very quickly. Anyways, these are the farmers. I don't care what the government says. I don't care what the news says. I care what the people who grow our food say, which are the farmers. That's who we should be paying attention to. Anyways, certain federal policies seem to almost deliberately aimed at creating a crisis rather than managing one. Key there, certain federal policies seem almost deliberately aimed at creating a crisis rather than managing one. Other possible factors contributing to these shortfalls include the war in Ukraine. We've seen a lot of blame go that direction, which has reduced the supply of available grains and fertilizers, and the loss, whether by arson, and this is the second part, whether by arson or vagaries of nature, more than 100 food processing plants and large farms across the country basically have burned in less than 2 years. Over 100, folks. And be it by arson or by, nature itself, they don't know. They don't want to speculate too much in certain articles. They don't want to be putting those tinfoil hats on, right? But over 100 processing plants and large farms in less than 2 years, folks, we've lost. So, again, pay attention to your farmers. Specifically, talk to some of your local farmers. If you're around some of those folks, have a conversation with them. Go to some of the local food markets and talk to those folks that out there that, bring to these, places where you get your fruits and vegetables. If you don't shop, let's say, in a major supermarket, and you go to a marketplace where farmers come in and bring in their produce and stuff to sell to, to the people local, talk to those folks and hear and listen to them and see what they're seeing, and look at the cost of what you're paying now, what you used to be paying for. Anyways, I just like to, food is a huge thing, folks, and like I said, it's sustenance that we need to survive. Food, water, and the list goes on. Speaking of, I guess I should have attached this. I'm going to bring up an article, and I'm looking here because, okay, so let me bring up this video first. I'm gonna bring up a video for you guys to see. That basically attaches to the article that I was just talking about in regards to Iraq and the toppling of governments and stuff like that, and show it to you here so that you can see it. Here's up on the screen. This happened earlier in the week. This is the second time it's actually happened, folks. As you can see there, and they move in. I'm gonna skip through a little bit through this video here, but all the people in the streets. You can see different things happening. There's a lot of folks out there. This is them inside of their, I don't want to say capital. I forget what they call it there, but you get what I'm saying. And, it is what it is, folks. As you can see, they're not happy with the way things are in that country. And the reason I wanted to show this before I move into this next article is because of what's happening in Nigeria. And like I said, it seems to be it's turning into a domino effect. You're seeing it starting to spread because of here. There's third world countries, second world countries. A lot of you folks understand the whole process. And the further you're down on the food chain, the less food you have, the more suffering people deal with. So the more quick they are to react to a situation. But here in this article here, it says fear of a popular coup as terrorist alliance has Nigerian capital under siege. So Sri Lanka, now Iraq, Nigeria, and there's a couple others that I'm probably missing. Anyways, it says Nigeria, traumatized citizens in Nigeria's sprawling capital of Abuja are on the verge of a citizens' revolt, according to the defense consultant who has worked for the Nigerian military. David Otto, a London-based military expert, tells the Epoch Times that a series of stunning hammer blows by a coalition of jihadist insurgents and radicalized bandits have been a win-win for both. This is an operation orchestrated by a coalition of jihadists and bandits for different outcomes, so they have different agendas. While the bandits benefit from the spoils of launching the attacks, the ISWAP jihadists walk away with their white and black flags raised high to demonstrate their existential threat to Nigeria and the region at large. And like I said, we've seen other things happen in more, I guess, westernized cultures like the UK and Italy and things like that, where government officials have been resigning. It just seems to be a common scenario at this point, right? What's going to happen in the U.S. to be seen. Speaking of which, I know a lot of you folks probably saw the news, but even after Corn Pop has been double victored and double dosed and double this and all the things that he's done, has tested positive again for the same thing that he supposedly recovered from, even given the medications that he's been given. Supposedly he's fine or whatever. Who knows? I'm always curious to see the outcome because, you know, a lot of us has speculated that this was going to happen at some point or another. I've listened to some of you viewers and your thoughts on it in regards to either in Discord or emails and stuff like that. I do see your point, but it's yet to be seen what's actually going to truly transpire. And what happens moving forward, possibly nothing, but it goes to show that the things that they preach and they tell the average folks that pay attention to CNN or other, you know, three-letter, the NBCs and ABCs and all that stuff like that, the alphabet soup of news media, what they've been preaching for so long and they keep on pushing is that that you have to have that. And, you know, there's some things that I can't really discuss on this platform in regards to what we've seen and what they said initially, where that if you were to take something that you would not you would not get it. You would not have to worry about getting it again. Boy, were they wrong. As well as some of the things that have happened since then and the material that has been dropped to state of all the different issues that have been happening in regards to, doing that whole thing. But to each his own. You're an American, folks. You choose what you want to do with your life, per se. Anyways, and to kind of bring it around, I do have a couple of one thing I'm going to add at the end, but I do have two intriguing articles. One is a win for the American people. I think so. Also something that has to do with the state of Florida that I wanted to share with you folks in case any of you Floridians are out there curious, because this was a situation that arose in June. But I want to remember, was it Thursday night? I think it was Thursday night. I did a video on the how they basically stated that we're not in a recession and stuff like that, and I showed you some facts and kind of gave you my opinion on what I think is happening and how the government and at least the current administration in the White House is lying to the American people on a consistent basis. So let's bring this up real quick because some things have happened since then. It said statistically indistinguishable from zero. Wharton study finds Inflation Reduction Act has no impact on inflation. So the thing that they're pouring that money into, that I told you that the $700 billion in spending, the $313 billion on tax hikes, is going to have no impact on inflation. So I'm really curious to see on the next, the next report on the GDP and stuff like that, how this is going to be pushing out. Some people think that inflation may waver a little bit, it may drop, it may go higher. I'm very curious how this is going to play out. Anyways, the Hill was thrown into near chaos this week when Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Joe Manchin unveiled the Inflation Reduction Act. A lot of people feel that Manchin turned his back on his constituents over there in West Virginia. Anyways, Republicans charged that Manchin misled them into supporting a $280 billion CHIPS and Science bill, basically for for the chip industry and more green stuff, if you know what I mean, the green energy thing, a bill they would have otherwise opposed. Others criticized the name of the bill, which contains a significant number of climate change items long sought by the Democrats. I discussed that earlier. I kind of went over that a little bit already, so I'm not going to be redundant with it. But anyways, Manchin premised his change on the fact that the bill would reduce inflation despite raising taxes and expenditures. And funny enough, during the Obama administration, I thought something that was funny that he had stated in a speech. He said, in a situation that closely resembled this situation, he stated that you would not create additional spending, that you would not raise taxes. And also in an old interview, I think it was Bush and Clinton, that they both stated that two reductions in GDP equals a recession. Anyways, how the tides have changed and how they've changed the vocabulary and the definitions of things and what they mean. Anyways, John Huntley and John Rico found that the bill would reduce non-interest cumulative deficits by $248 billion over the budget window, with no impact on GDP in 2031. Remember Agenda 2030, folks, but no impact on GDP 2031. In 2031, the impact on inflation is statistically indistinguishable from zero. That is $52 billion less in deficit reduction than claimed by the Democrats. And the review found the bill would actually very slightly increase inflation until 2024 and decrease inflation thereafter. So inflation, they're expecting through this bill, through this additional spending and these tax hikes, that inflation will continue to increase until sometime in 2024. That's when the presidential election will be held. What will be happening in that time? Hopefully you'll be joining me on videos at that point so we can discuss those situations as that. Anyways, what do they have planned is my question. They always have some sort of narrative plan. Anyways, Wharton Budget's unit functions like an academic congressional budget office offering nonpartisan budget analysis at a time of growing orthodoxy and viewpoint intolerance. It remains an independent voice on a budgetary issue. For many, the Congress has become more bold in mislabeling legislation. Basically, they're saying that this legislation is named this, and we're going to talk about that because this is happening in Oregon. It's happening at the state level too, folks. So pay attention before you vote on something in a bill, at the local level, at the state level, at the federal level. I know it sucks, but you're going to have to read into this or gather the information you need before you vote yes or no on a situation. Anyways, but they are mislabeling legislation, like the infrastructure bill that contained mainly non-infrastructure of human infrastructure provisions. Later, a stripped-down infrastructure bill was passed that was confined to actual infrastructure. So, folks, from what this article is stating, that we're not going to see a reduction in inflation until after 2024. So we still have almost 2 years moving forward, with inflation being what it is. So the cost of goods and everything that you do in life is going to cost you that much more because of the people that are running this country. That's my perspective. They can make a difference, but they choose not to. Why? That's the big question. Anyways, speaking of Oregon, let me bring this up here. This was Guns and Gadgets did a great video on this, and it's in a lot of you folks probably know who, the YouTube channel Guns and Gadgets is. He did a great breakdown in this, a lot better than I'm going to do. I'm just going to read this article. So if you get a chance, go over there and check out Guns and Gadgets. As always, if you want to, you can say Gray sent you, but that's up to you. Oregonians, if I say that right, will soon vote on a ballot measure that opponents say could virtually end the legal sale of firearms in the state, making it one of the strictest gun control measures ever proposed in the nation. Again, gun control only affects law-abiding citizens or law-abiding gun owners. It does not affect the criminal element. If voters approve Measure 114, the changes to gun ownership and purchase requirements initiative, a permit would be required to obtain any firearm or magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds would be outlawed. Some commonly used pump shotguns would be banned because they can exceed the 10-round limit. The state police would be required to, and pay attention, folks, pay close attention to this last part. The state police would be required to maintain a searchable public database of all permit applications. So when they say public, that means anyone with a computer or phone or access to the internet can search this database of people who hold permit applications or someone who has filed an application. So if you're in a place where people dox you, specifically Oregon, Portland, let's not forget those folks out there. You guys know who I'm talking about, the little kids in black with the blue hair, could look up this information, and also thieves, people who like to rob people of their firearms and sell them on the black market and give them to the criminal element. Not a good thing, folks. So if you're if you are an Oregonian, or if I say that right, my apologies if I don't. But if you live in Oregon and you're a citizen and you believe in your Second Amendment, you might want to spread this information out there and get everybody to vote no on Measure 114. But go check out Guns and Gadgets. He did a really great breakdown and a lot more informative than I can be on that subject. He's more of an expert than I am when it comes to that. Now let's talk about a couple things. Let's jump over to Florida. You guys know I live in Florida, and I know all politicians have some sort of specific agenda, be if it's money, power, but there's some politicians that do good by their states. A lot of people know who Ron DeSantis is. A lot of people want Ron DeSantis to run for president in 2024. I get that. My problem with that is I don't want to lose my governor. That's the big issue, because who's going to take his place? Right now, Florida's been doing good over the last few years with DeSantis at the helm. There's certain things that he's done that I don't agree with, and certain things that he still needs to do in regards to constitutional carry and get that legislation passed. But there's a couple Rhino Republicans, specifically two of them in Florida legislature, that are preventing that from happening to reach his desk. I feel that he might need to do an executive order and team up with Anthony Sabatini, get this bill passed, and give the Floridians full access to their Second Amendment per our Constitution. Anyways, one thing that I thought he did, this was in June, I think June 19th, middle of June of 2022, so not too long ago. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Florida State Guard. Florida State Guard was disbanded back in World War II, and the Florida State Guard was kind of put together back then to protect the state of Florida, while the National Guard, the federal National Guard, was out, fighting. And the Florida State Guard protected the great state of Florida. So for you Floridians that might be interested in this, I think I have it linked down below as well. But the Florida State Guard is the state civilian force that assists Floridians in state emergencies such as hurricanes. They threw hurricanes in there, but just remember, state emergencies. That's a key word there. Do you want to be a part of the Florida State Guard? Do you have what it takes to mobilize in the face of disaster? Here's a few things and why I got a few things highlighted. Because there's always, they put something up, but they don't. It's like they don't want to really give you the information. They just kind of want to hint at it so that you guys know. And don't get me wrong, I think this is a great thing. This is a great thing. I agree with this 100%. That I think every state should have a state guard. You should have the Texas State Guard. You should have the Georgia State Guard. I think states need to think outside of the box, outside of looking at the federal government's going to protect me kind of situation. The same way we look at it. Anyways, the Florida State Guard is seeking individuals with strong background in military operations and culture to lead men and women of the FLSG. The director of the Florida State Guard will be in charge of 400 Guard members and will oversee recruitment, training, and mobilization of the force in event of an emergency. Florida is also looking for individuals between the ages of 18 and 60 to volunteer and train to ensure that the Guard is ready to step in when an emergency strikes. An emergency can mean anything from a natural disaster or something more nefarious. If you love the state of Florida, and most of us do, have a desire to help the community and have skills beneficial to protect the state from a disaster, we encourage you to apply to join the FLSG. Skilled Floridians with emergency response, law enforcement, and military training are encouraged to apply. A member of the apply to the I'm tongue twisting here, FLSG. Ideal candidates will have demonstrated experience in military style operations, emergency management, leadership, and problem solving. So the reason I'm highlighting on some of this stuff like that is basically our governor is doing it legally per the Constitution, and maybe I'm reading into this wrong, but we will have our own state militia. That's what it is. You saw what happened with the J6. You saw what happened to the Oath Keepers and some of the other folks out there, the 3%ers that are trying to do what they're trying to do to protect, their rights and their constitutional rights and stuff like that. But I think if something like this, having a Florida State Guard, aka a Florida State militia, my perspective, my opinion, you know what I mean? But I think is truly beneficial to the citizens of Florida. And we, trust me, I'm looking into this, folks. We, as citizens who believe in our Constitution and believe in the state and our freedoms, should possibly look into this situation here if you're a Floridian. I wanted to share that and kind of put it out there because some folks may not know about it, that if you live here in Florida. I've been talking to some folks here locally, specifically some of my battle buddies and other folks that I associate with in regards to this and how it could benefit us down the road. Anyways, last but not least, I want to talk about something positive. A positive win. I consider this a positive win before we wrap this up. Let me throw it up on the screen and take a sip of water before I get more tongue twisted per se. It's funny. I listen to the talk radio and so even the news sometimes, and even they get tongue twisted. So I don't feel so bad because I'm not like, a news anchor or something. The wife thinks I should be, but it's kind of funny that she said that. Anyways, this is a win for healthcare workers, folks, and I hope we see more of this. It says a group of healthcare workers who sued their hospital over the Charlie Victor mandate are slated to receive $10 million, according to the settlement agreement filed on July 29th. About a dozen workers at the North Shore University Health System in Illinois lodged the suit in October of 2021, arguing that the facility was illegally not granting religious exemptions to the mandate. After 8 months of negotiations, the workers and North Shore have agreed to settle this case, according to the memorandum filed in federal court. Under the settlement's terms, North Shore will pay a little over $10 million into a settlement fund for workers affected by its mandate, specifically workers who between July 1st, 2021 and January 1st, 2022 asked for religious accommodations and were denied and either received a victor or received a victor to avoid termination, or were fired for or resigned. Basically, about 473 workers fit under that category. So a little under 500, divide that into 10 million, that's a good payout. North Shore will also adjust its Victor mandate to enhance its accommodation procedures for individuals with approved exemptions for the sincerely held religious beliefs. I hope to see more of this. We've had some of our community members deal with this firsthand. Some of the nurses, doctors, other people in the medical field deal with this firsthand. I hope and pray that this sets precedence and moves forward and takes a hold in all 50 states. But I'm pretty sure places like California and other places, it probably won't go that direction. But even though Illinois, being Chicago, think about how it's associated. Illinois is normally normally blue, but this passed through federal court systems, and I hope that, like I said, it continues to be something that we see more of. Other than that, folks, that's going to wrap up the Sunday Shift Report. I want to say thank you to every single one of you that joined me this afternoon. God bless you and your family members out there. I truly appreciate that you taking the time out of your busy schedule to hang out with with myself and the Grey community. I truly appreciate that, mods. You guys are wonderful folks. Thank you for being here and making sure everything runs smoothly as well. And folks, if you haven't hit that thumbs up button yet, please do so. It's always appreciated. And if so, if you have any commentary or suggestions or opinions based on some of the articles that I went over, and you have a difference of opinion or you agree with what I'm saying, drop that down in the comments as well. I'd like to hear from you folks outside of just the live or the premiere per se, and my interaction with you in the comment section goes a long way. But thank you all. And remember, folks, you are not alone. And stay safe, please. Please stay safe. Keep on stacking it, folks. Other than that, this is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys in a rebound. God bless.